Hey guys, how you doing? This is Michael from MMA Night and Day, here to bring you guys a UFC 218 post-fight breakdown. Now, I did my predictions on the pre-card, and I believe I did very, very well. We're going to start this off with going over the card. The first fight on the prelims. Now, however, I did not do the fight pass portion of the card. I did, however, skip that, so I'm not going to go over everything on that because of the fact that I didn't do it on the pre-card breakdown, so I see no reason to go over it on the post. But to start off, we had the first fight was Herrig and Courtney Casey. I predicted that Herrig would win that fight, and Herrig, however, did win that fight. Courtney Casey did not agree with the decision, but usually when you're on the losing end of a decision, a lot of times fighters do not agree with the decision, but however, I felt Herrig did enough to win that fight, and Herrig did go ahead and win that fight. So, I got a win in that part. The second fight was Tamer and Jakar Close. Now, I said in the pre-fight breakdown that I thought this would be a really good fight. I said if Tamer was able to stay on the outside, implement his striking game, and do what he does best, that Tamer could easily win this fight. I went out on a limb and said that I thought that Jakar Close would make this a little dirtier fight. Not saying that he fights dirty, but just make it a little grittier fight than you would see, from Tamer being used to. However, I did say that him and Lando Venata was one of those type of fights, and he did, tend to come out victorious in that fight. Well, it was the same situation in this. Tamer just basically gave him a striking clinic. Really, really good performance by Tamer, and Tamer went ahead and took that win in that fight. I picked Jakar Close to upset Tamer, and it did not go my way. So, Tamer picked up a win. That is Tamer's 4th win straight in the UFC, 6 in a row. I mean, this guy's on a nice roll here. I think it's time to give him a little step up in competition. I mean, Lando Venata was a really good test for him. He got past that, and then giving him Jakar Close. I mean, Jakar Close was undefeated. He did have one draw, or yes, it was a draw. And I mean, he gave him his first loss. Tamer's really, coming into his own here. He's, like I said, 4-0 in the UFC. It's about time Tamer gets a little step up in competition, and let's see what he does with it afterwards. He's in the lightweight division, which is a stacked division, so there's plenty of people for him to fight, and let's see what he does once you start giving him ranked opponents. Moving forward, the next fight was Cowboy Oliveira and Yancy Mederos. Now, I picked Yancy Mederos to win this fight, and Yancy Mederos did win this fight. However, this was a fight of the year candidate. They were battling the entire fight. It was very, very close, back and forth. And Yancy Mederos went ahead and got that victory. Very, very good fight. Was very impressed, both of them. You figure Oliveira was 4-0-1 in his last 5. So, and like I said in the pre-fight breakdown, Yancy Mederos just looks so much better at 170. training with Max Holloway and them. I mean, you could tell that this guy is going to war. You could tell this guy is really putting in time in the gym and doing what needs to be done. At 170, he looks healthier. He's fighting a lot healthier. Yeah, man. Yancy Mederos, got to salute that guy. He's doing a hell of a job. And I'd like to see he's another one. I'd like to see get a step up in competition. Alex Oliveira was ranked 15, I believe. Yes. Yancy beat him. I think Yancy deserves to either fight a higher ranked opponent or at least become ranked himself. I believe that he definitely would deserve that number 15 slot. He just shown what he's made of. True grit. I mean, the guy has heart for days. Like I said, saluted the guy. Way to go, Yancy Mederos. Next fight was Charles Oliveira and Paul Felder. Like I said, my Philly boy, Paulie Felder. I picked Paul Felder to win that fight, and Paul Felder did win that fight. Another one with elbows like that. He's just been elbowing everybody to sleep, man. Paulie Felder's really been on a streak here. He's 4-1 in his last 5, so now he's 5-1 in his last 6. Yeah, I can't say enough about that guy. I mean, his only loss out of that last 6 was actually a doctor stoppage as well, so it's not even like he was knocked out or anything like that. It was due to a cut. I mean, Paul Felder's really been looking good recently. He looked good when he first came into the UFC. He had that little undefeated streak, and then that was stopped. But, I mean, he's never really lost a beat. I mean, the guy's really been fighting his heart out, doing a great job. Another one, you just got to take your hat off to the man. He's really, putting on clinics here. It looked like Charles Oliveira was actually tapping to the strikes, but I don't know if that was the case. I mean, you saw him tapping on Paul's shoulder, and the ref did not stop the fight, so he went ahead and just continued to elbow him, and he wound up getting the finish. Great performance by Paul Felder. Another one in the win column.
Just over a minute here, round 2. Felder inside the closed guard of Charles Oliveira.
Oh, big elbow by Felder.
Oh!
Huge elbow.
This might be it.
Now we're moving on to the main card. The first fight of the night was Tecia Torres and Michelle Waterson. Tecia Torres is currently ranked number 5 in the strawweight division. Michelle Waterson was ranked number 6. Tecia Torres is 9-1 in her career, and Michelle Waterson was 14-5. The only loss that Tecia Torres had was to the current champion Rose Namajunas, who she actually beat as well. They're 1-1. Tecia Torres did beat Rose in Invicta, and then she went ahead and lost to her in the UFC. I think it's time to make that rubber match. They are saying that they're going to do Rose and Joanna, which I can't really complain about. I mean, the girl won 5 straight title defenses. She was dominating everybody. She looked like, the next coming of Ronda Rousey. And Rose Namajunas looked like the second coming of Holly Holm at that point. I mean, that was almost as big as an upset as the Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey fight was, if not bigger. Nobody gave Rose a shot in that fight. Rose went out there and dropped her, and not only did she drop her, she did it a second time and then stopped her. That's another situation where you had Joanna tapping strikes, which she swears she didn't, and I believe that the referee also stated that he did not think she was tapping the strikes, but I saw it clear as day. She was tapping the strikes. But either way, like I said, Tecia Torres does have a win over, and she does have a win over Tecia Torres. So if they do not move ahead with Joanna, which, like I said, if they do, you can't be mad at them. But if they do not, why not? Go ahead and give her that rubber match. And if somehow they do make the fight and Joanna loses again, then I believe Tisha Torres should be first in line for the next title shot. And even if Rose Namajunas loses the title fight, I believe that Tisha Torres should be next in line to fight Joanna as well. I just think that she's just been going out there and doing what needs to be done. Like I said in the pre-fight breakdown, the Tiny Tornado fits her perfect. Absolutely perfect. I mean, the girl's a wrecking ball, man. She goes out there, she puts her heart into it every single time. Really good striking, nice wrestling, nice ground game. She's very well-rounded, and I believe that Tisha Torres deserves the next title shot. If not, then you got to give her somebody that's, right up there. Let her prove herself one more time. If you're not going to get her an immediate title fight, or if you're not going to, allow her to wait her time out and then get the winner of Joanna and Rose, if that's the direction they're moving in, then give her somebody that she's willing to fight. Let her pick up one more win, and then give her a title shot after that. I mean, I know that's a no-brainer, but, I mean, what more can you really do with this girl? She's destroying everybody you put in front of her. It's about that time. But, I said Tisha Torres would win, and she did, so I was, at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was 4-1 so far, going into the next fight, which was Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje. Eddie Alvarez currently ranked number 4 in the lightweight division at 155. Justin Gaethje number 5. Eddie Alvarez 28-5. Justin Gaethje was 18-0. Boy, whew, did they ever put on a brawl. This was one for the ages. They promised that this was going to happen. They promised they were going to go out there and put it all on the line, and both of them did. I picked Eddie Alvarez to win this fight, and Eddie Alvarez did win this fight with a knee from hell. Did a little premature celebration there. He hit Justin Gaethje with that knee, and Justin went down like a pile of bricks. Eddie tended to put his hand up and realized that the ref was not jumping in, so he gave him a few extra punches, and they eventually stopped the fight. But Eddie Alvarez, man, I said it. I mean, the guy's not done. He just had a poor showing with Conor McGregor. The Dustin Poirier fight, he showed what he was made of. Showed the kind of heart that the guy has. He went out there and put everything on the line in that Dustin Poirier fight. Looked like he was about to be finished. Came back, looked like he was about to finish Dustin Poirier. It just so happened he threw an illegal knee and wound up with a no contest, which Eddie Alvarez said it, and I believe him. It looked that way to me, like Dustin Poirier was just trying to game the system and wound up getting gamed himself. I believe Dustin could have continued that fight, and he decided that he didn't want to continue that fight. But, however, he was given a no contest, and everybody thought they were going to do the rematch. Eddie was saying they were going to do the rematch. Dustin was saying they were going to do the rematch. And then Justin Gaethje went out and did what he did to Michael Johnson, and all of a sudden you have a new star emerge in the UFC. I thought that matchup was perfect. Him and Eddie Alvarez, they made them opposing coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, and I just felt that this was a perfect fight for both of them. They're both that type of fighter. They both like to come forward. They both like to stand and bang, and they both like to be violent, and that's exactly what we got in this fight. Leg kicks from Justin Gaethje, which we all knew what was going to happen in that situation. I said that in the pre-fight breakdown. Justin Gaethje's leg kicks could be a determining factor in this, whether Eddie could withstand them or not, which Eddie did. But he said if it was a 5-round fight, he was in trouble, man. He had to get him out there in the third, because you've seen him switching from orthodox to southpaw, orthodox to southpaw. I mean, he was doing that not only because that was part of the game plan, because his leg was getting beat up. It was getting chewed up on both sides. Justin Gaethje's leg kicks are just very vicious. Reminds me of not the fighting style, but just reminds me of the way that Jose Aldo used to just eat people's legs up with leg kicks. Justin Gaethje has that type of effect on people when he's hitting you with them leg kicks. Eddie Alvarez just happened to withstand it. They both stood there right in front of each other, toe-to-toe. I do feel that what's being overlooked in this fight, I haven't seen many people talk about it, was Eddie Alvarez's jab. Eddie Alvarez was utilizing his jab in this fight unbelievably. His jab was landing consistently throughout the entire fight. He was getting hit with leg kicks, stuck to the jab, was moving forward, throwing power punches. On the break, finishing with the jab. Jabbing coming in, jabbing exiting. He was using his jab throughout this entire fight, and I believe that it really, really started to take a toll on Justin Gaethje. Go back and watch the fight. If it's not in your very recent memory, if you can't sit there and think about that fight and say, he's right, well then go back and watch that fight. And I believe you'll hear, I'm not sure if it was Ricardo Almeida or Mark Henry, somebody was saying jab on the way out or jab on the break, and he was doing that before they even said it and continued to do it after. One of my friends said that it was Trevor Whitman saying it to Justin Gaethje. Well, if that was the case, which I don't think that it was, but if that was the case, Eddie Alvarez took the advice and just ran with it. He was doing that the entire fight. It constantly landed. Beautifully executed. Thumbs up to Eddie Alvarez, man. He really, really put on a clinic. Showed everybody that he's not done, and showed everybody why he's been inside the top 5 lightweights, just in MMA period, for that long of a time. Great performance by Eddie Alvarez. Way to go, man. Eddie Alvarez getting the TKO victory with the knee, and then the punches to end the fight. Another one, like I said, another Philly boy, but another one that I picked as well, so that's another win in my win column. Next fight was Henry Cejudo and Sergio Pettis. Another thing that I said in the pre-fight breakdown. Who's going to show up? Is it going to be Sergio, or is it just going to be a Pettis? And it looked like a Pettis to me, because Henry Cejudo did what everybody else has been able to do to his brother, to Anthony Pettis. I said in the pre-fight breakdown, Henry Cejudo's wrestling is on a different level. You can't go in there and just try to stay on the outside and strike with somebody like Henry Cejudo, because he's going to back you up into that cage. There's not going to be anywhere to go, and he's going to have you on your back, and that's exactly what happened. Very, very well-executed game plan from Henry Cejudo. He did exactly what I thought he would do, and he cruised himself right to a victory. People were booing him, which, listen, it might not be the most exciting thing in the world, but neither's Ben Askren, watching him fight, and he does that to people. GSP used to do that to people before the Michael Bisping fight and before the Johnny Hendricks fight. Every fight prior to that, that's what GSP was doing. He was taking people down, sitting on top of them, hitting them with shots that he needed to hit them with, just enough to not get stood up, and he was cruising to win fights. Matt Hughes would do it, but Matt Hughes would put on some vicious ground and pound, but Matt Hughes would do the same thing. Ben Askren did it and took little to no damage in his entire career. I mean, you have people now that you're looking at over in Bellator, like Douglas Lima and Karishnikov and people like that are just monsters. They're out there, knocking people out and really showing high-level striking. And Ben Askren fought both of them and took both of them, put them on the canvas, and did not let them get back up. If you want to call the style boring, okay. But if there's a problem with it, then stop it. It's mixed martial arts. The whole point of mixed martial arts is to see what art is the best and, who can implement their game. Nobody's figured out a way to stop Ben Askren. Demetrius Johnson and Joe B did, however, figure out Henry Cejudo, but when it comes to pure wrestling, you're not going to get anybody better in wrestling than you are Henry Cejudo. And now, after this Wilson Hayes fight, and now after this Sergio Pettis fight, he just looks like he's grown up and matured a whole lot more after that Demetrius Johnson loss. Even the Joe B fight, that was a split decision loss. I mean, I do think that Joseph Benavidez did win that fight, but not by much. He just shown that he's just a very, very good fighter, and he's only getting better. Now would be the time when he would deserve a title shot, like right around now. I thought it was a little premature giving him that fight with Demetrius Johnson then. I mean, I think it was only for the best. I think it only helped elevate his career and make him better as a fighter, but I just believe that at that point he was still a little too green. But like I said, it was only for the best, so it's kind of like a gift and a curse. It was a gift in the sense that it made him a better fighter, but it was a curse that he got that loss at such an early stage of his career. But nonetheless, he's just looked excellent these past two fights, and I think he might be one more fight away from a title shot. You got TJ Dillashaw supposedly coming down to fight Demetrius Johnson. If that fight does take place next, as Dana White said that it's going to, then I believe Henry Cejudo should get one more fight in there just to get a little bit more experience, and then go ahead and give him a title shot if he wins that. Being as Joseph Benavidez has already fought Demetrius multiple times, I think that it's only right to let Henry Cejudo get one more crack at it before you go ahead and give Benavidez another one. But either way, Henry Cejudo, another one that I picked, said exactly how that fight would take place, and that's exactly what happened. So I got another win there. Next fight was the co-main event. Alistair Overeem and Francis Ngannou. In the pre-fight breakdown, I said this fight starts standing, just like every fight does. Alistair Overeem is a decorated striker. He's not going to go in there and just look for takedowns immediately because he's a striker. That's what he likes to do. He did, however, shoot for a takedown, which kind of, caught me by surprise, but he did. Didn't go so well for him. Pretty much Ngannou just shrugged it off. They stood on their feet. Alistair Overeem just tried to do what he does with everybody. He tried to stand there and show that high-level striking and pick them apart, and it just didn't go well for him. He got hit with an uppercut from Cameroon that landed in Vegas, and I said in the pre-fight breakdown he's going to get hit with a shot and he's going to wake up by the time that I'm doing this right now, and that's what I think's happening. I think Alistair Overeem woke up about a half hour ago, because that was one of the most vicious uppercuts, which wasn't even really so much of an uppercut. It was more of, it was like in between a hook and an uppercut. I don't know how exactly you would call that. It was kind of like sideways, but coming up. It was from a very awkward angle, but it landed flush, and Alistair Overeem really just didn't know what hit him. Francis Ngannou knocked Alistair Overeem out, and you're looking at the next contender for the heavyweight championship, which Dana White said will be happening soon around UFC 220, UFC 221 area. I'm really looking forward to that fight. I'm a huge Stipe fan, but this guy's something special. I'm just really looking forward to that fight. I hope Stipe could win that fight, but just the way Ngannou looks, he looks spectacular. Another one, gotta say, hats off to him. But another one that I picked, and another one that I won. And now, for the last fight of the night, you have the main event. Jose Aldo Jr. versus Max Holloway. Now, I did say in the pre-fight breakdown, I said that I liked Max Holloway. I wanted Max Holloway to win, and I picked Max Holloway to win. But last second, I went ahead and went against my gut, and I switched my pick to Jose Aldo the last second. And I even said in the pre-fight breakdown, I said, well, I have Max Holloway circled here to win this fight, but you know what, I'm going to go with Jose. I just think something is going to be different, and I think he will get this win. That, however, did not happen. Jose looked really good. He was throwing leg kicks. He was landing leg kicks. He looked like the Jose Aldo of old at first. Really good head movement. Kept moving his head. Looked like that little work with Robert Garcia actually paid off for him in a big way. But also what I think really did not pay off for him was the weight cut. He looked very depleted during the weigh-ins. You seen him like this, putting his hands on the scale and ducking his head, and it just looked like he was just really out of it. It looked like the weight cut did him no justice. And then in the fight, it kind of showed. Max Holloway said in the post-fight interview that he was telling Rogan and Cormier and all them that he's tired. He's tired after the first round. And I was saying that to my friends. I said, he looks just completely gone. He did come out in the second round, however, and continued the fight the same way he fought in the first. He was still throwing kicks, still using his punches. He was moving a little bit too far back and was putting himself against the cage a little too much, a little more than I would have liked to see. And I think that that's what kind of hurt him. But nevertheless, he was out there gunning, man. He was throwing his punches, utilizing every bit of his boxing. He was throwing very nice jabs, throwing nice hooks. He hit Max Holloway with a really good uppercut. I mean, he looked sharp, Jose. It really, really looked good the first two rounds, but it was kind of almost identical to the first fight. Looked really good in the first two rounds, and in the third round, Max just hit that switch, man, and just went into overdrive, and Jose just, he couldn't keep up with the pace, and that's exactly what happened in the first fight, and it was no different in the second fight. I just think the only difference was that Jose used a little bit more head movement and was throwing some kicks in the second fight. But overall, it was like almost an identical performance from Max Holloway. Fight almost ended identically to how the first one did. And it was only, 30 seconds longer than the first fight. Max Holloway's the real deal. That's 12 straight wins. I mean, the guy's beat Jose Aldo twice, which is nothing anybody else could say. Not Conor McGregor, not nobody else. There's not a person on this planet that could say they beat Jose Aldo twice, aside from Max Holloway. Jose Aldo is the greatest featherweight champion that we have ever seen, and I believe that Max Holloway can take that title from him as well. The only problem is there's nobody left for him to fight, and it looks like the weight cuts may be starting to get to him as well. But nevertheless, Max Holloway is a true champion. Max Holloway is really, really good. I don't see Max Holloway as great at anything, but he's just very good at everything. Like, there's not one particular strong suit that Max Holloway has aside from his heart. His heart is second to none. His chin, also second to none. But, like, he doesn't have, like, great striking. He doesn't have a great ground game. He doesn't have great wrestling. He doesn't have great Muay Thai. He doesn't have great Jiu-Jitsu. Like, he doesn't have great anything. But he just has very good everything. And it just looks like that's enough for him to just continue to just rattle off win after win after win after win. Put all those very good attributes together with a heart that nobody can match, and also a toughness and a chin that is also second to none. And you have your reigning defending featherweight champion, Max Blessed Holloway. Hats off to him. I saw a little thing in there with Conor McGregor and him going back and forth. Excuse me. I think that was very funny. It's actually once I could say that I think that Conor McGregor was actually defeated in a talking match. Max put up a picture of him and Shane Victorino hugging backstage, and Conor put a little caption underneath of it saying, "I miss those sunglasses." And Max Holloway came back saying, I bet you missed 2015 as well. You know, retired fighters always miss the past or something in that nature, and it was funny. I mean, you know, McGregor hasn't defended his title. McGregor hasn't been in that division since then neither, so it just thumbs up to him. It just it was awesome. But anyway, that's that for the post-fight breakdown. I'm very, very tired right now. I know this wasn't the greatest post-fight breakdown. It's just, I promised you guys I would get it out, and I wasn't going to disappoint or lie and not do it. But anyway, I promise from this one going forward, you know, the next pre- and post-fight breakdowns will be a lot better. I just kind of rushed these just to get them out. Pre-fight breakdown was taking forever to upload. Also, I lost the first one that I did. The camera somehow deleted it. Maybe I did it accidentally. I don't think that I did, but maybe it was deleted accidentally. But anyway, I had to rush the second one and get it out in time, which I did. It was dropped right around the time that the prelims were starting. And now for the post-fight, I wasn't going to wait till midweek to get this uploaded and get this out to you guys. I said I would have it up by Tuesday, and I will have it up by Tuesday. So anyway, that's pretty much that. But moving forward, I promise you guys I'll have a more in-depth breakdown, pre-fight and post-fight. But overall, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights total. I predicted all 9, and I wound up with a 7-2 record. That's it, guys. That's it for my post-fight breakdown from MMA Night and Day. This is Michael. If there's any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Also, if there's anything you guys, would like me to talk about, please leave that in the comment section as well. The next episode of MMA Insight will be coming out this week. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that notification bell for any latest news and reviews, being as I do reviews on this channel for all combat sports related items, such as boxing gloves, shin pads, and anything in that nature. Boxing boots, punch mitts, Thai pads, everything you can imagine. I do a breakdown on that. So, like I said, if there's anything you guys would like to see me review, you can leave that in the comment section as well. Anything you want to talk about, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. But for now, I'm going to go get some sleep, guys. Thank you all. This is Michael from MMA Night and Day, signing out.
Goodbye.